everybody! Today we are going to make a cheddar mashed potato casserole as seen here in the family cookbook. I don't have the finished product to show you because I'm not going to bake it yet because I want to bring it to Thanksgiving. So the finished product, as you just saw in the picture, is delicious. Here it is before it goes into the oven. Welcome to an easy dish. I don't know, I felt like I needed an ending there. Microwave safe plate. And I'm gonna spray this with some cooking spray. Sugar, flour, eggs, butter, and almond extract. I'd like to apologize for my flawless skin and smoky eyes. I know that you've gotten used to the authentic me, no makeup and so forth, no painted nails or whatevs. But this is not my only on-screen gig, okay? And yesterday I had a shoot, as we call it in the biz, and I needed to have on makeup, I guess. And of course I slept in it, as you could probably have guessed about me. Real low maintenance kind of a girl. So I woke up like they do in the movies, full makeup. But no, never fear. I'll be right back to my authentic self next time you see me. Not next time, because today I'm doing two videos because they're both Thanksgiving sides. And so this is a cheddar mashed potatoes, sort of a baked mashed potatoes. Really flavorful and yummy and also really easy. I went ahead and already boiled the potatoes, which obviously is the worst part. I mean, the peeling and the whole thing. Spare yourself and go to the grocery store and buy the already, ones in the refrigerator section that are already peeled, cubed, and cooked. If you need to do that, that's a big time saver in this case. The recipe calls for 8 medium potatoes. I think I have too many. Quite certain I have too many. I think I'll remove some of these before. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to take some of these out. Not many. I don't know. I should have been paying attention, but I wasn't. Okay. And so once you have, so I'm going to give you a few, as we're talking, a few tips on mashed potatoes. But let me put this in so I can get this going. All we're adding here is a stick of butter and an 8-ounce thing of cream cheese. And then I'm going to go ahead and stir this so it gets kind of melted in there. So a couple of tips on making your mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving. One of the mistakes that I made was boiling my water before I put the potatoes in, right? Like a normal person would, just like you do with pasta, right? Like, so you boil your water and then you put in your pasta and you cook it. Why wouldn't you do that with potatoes? So for potatoes, what you want to do is cut them up, cover them with cold water until maybe an inch or two above the potato line, and then put them on the stove in the cold water and boil it and let it, the heat rise with the potatoes. So basically what I'm saying is, so what will happen is if you put it into already hot water, the outside of the potato gets really cooked really fast and the inside doesn't get cooked as well. Another thing that I do is I cut my potatoes up pretty small, in pretty small cubes. Trying to give you an example here of a cube that hasn't smushed, so that they'll cook faster. Just, that's the only real reason. Also, just like you do with pasta, salt your water, because the way that potatoes and pasta both cook is that they absorb the water, of course, and so they're absorbing now salt water, so they won't be as bland. Of course, you're going to add more salt anyway, so it's not that big a deal if you skip that step. Also, unlike what I just did, ideally, you would like your butter and your cream cheese to be room temperature at least, preferably even warm, so that when you put them into your potato mixture, you're not bringing down the temperature. It's easier to melt and meld into the potatoes, and you don't have to stir as much. The more you mess with your potatoes, the more gluten is released, and then sort of the more gummy your mashed potatoes can get. If you wondered how I've become such an expert, it's that before I did this video, I read an article that I Googled. Tips and tricks on how to make good mashed potatoes. So now we all know. Okay, so this is melting in here nicely. I'm feeling like I've got a lot of potatoes. I'm feeling like it wasn't enough butter, but that's fine. So basically what I'm going to do now is add, and this is where it becomes a sort of a casserole rather than just mashed potatoes. I'm going to add 2 eggs, which I'm going to pre-beat, if you will, into here and then pour in. Make sure that your potato mixture isn't steaming hot because you don't want your eggs to cook quickly, because then you'll have scrambled eggs. You know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't really be that bad because you've added your butter and your cream cheese and you've let it kind of simmer down. But just make sure they're not steaming when you add the egg. Okay? So, fun fact, my son Colin, who has very, very severe allergies, one of them, and the most severe to egg, ate these mashed potatoes accidentally when I put them on his plate. And yeah, EpiPen emergency room. But he's pretty used to that. He's had probably 8 or 9 EpiPens and visits to the ER. So if you have food allergy questions, I'm your girl. Okay, so I'm adding the eggs. Just double checking that. Adding the eggs. Next, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of flour to this. 1 and 2. And then we're going to add the seasonings. And the seasonings here really are only parsley and chives. And I don't like chives. I'm not adding them. You can't make me. So I'm just going to add a tablespoon of parsley. I don't think parsley has a taste. I guess it's just for a little color. And then it does not say on my recipe here to add salt and pepper, but I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Not a whole lot, because of course everybody can kind of salt their own potatoes and once they put them on their plate. So, but you don't want them to be terribly bland. I'm not adding pepper simply because there are going to be a lot of kids at Thanksgiving, and kids, right, and little black things in there. I don't know about your kids, but that's how my kids are. What are those black things? That's called pepper, and then it's over. We're not having mashed potatoes. So I'm just going to do myself the favor and leave it out. So from here, I'm going to mix all this together with my hand mixer. I'm going to try and make this, mix it the least amount possible per our earlier tip, to not overmix so as not to have gummy potatoes. So I'm going to mix this all together, hopefully with my hand mixer, which is on its absolute last leg. So hopefully this will work. And then I'll come back and we'll go from there. Here's the thing about cooking that is different than baking. You need to trust your own judgment when you have something like this where adding something additional or subtracting even something like chives is a matter of taste. And so I mixed this all up and I didn't feel like it had enough flavor. So it might be because I have more potatoes than I need. So I added another half a stick of butter and another half a block of cream cheese. I got it using the lower temperatures on the microwave so that it was warm-ish, and then mixed that in as well. And additionally added what amounted to probably about 2 teaspoons of salt. But that's a boatload of potatoes. So again, I'm going to repeat this for you now. 8 medium-sized potatoes. I have more than that. Okay, but I eyed it, right? And also, it's okay. I'm just going to make another pan of them, or I'll end up with a 13 by 9 and an 8 by 8. No problem. I added 1.5 sticks of butter to this. I added 1.5 blocks of cream cheese. I added 2 teaspoons of salt. I added a tablespoon of parsley. I added 2 eggs, which I mixed a little bit first. 2 tablespoons of flour. I didn't add chives. It would have called for a tablespoon of chives if you wanted that. I also didn't add any pepper. Yeah, again, to taste, but maybe a teaspoon of pepper. Maybe that's a little much, half a teaspoon. So I'm going to spray this. It's not necessary. I don't know why, but I'm going to anyway. So, what I was saying is kind of trust your own taste to adjust things up and down. You can do that when you cook with most things. When you bake, cooking is about, tasting and intuition. Baking is about science. It is irritating. I mean, obviously you can adjust some things, right? But not a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and, you can see it, they're pretty thin. They've got the eggs in them, but we're going to now bake this. So I didn't make too many. That's good. I think I might be able to get them all in here. So we're going to bake this. I imagine you can put this in your fridge. You can make this the day ahead. Make it on Wednesday, put it in your fridge, and then bake it when it's time to eat. Oh, look, I think this was a really good amount. It really filled up the 13 by 9 that I used. That out of there. And it's looking really good. On the top of this, we're going to add some cheddar cheese. And that kind of tartness of the cheddar cheese, or whatever kind of cheese you like, that will get melted on top. Really tastes good. It really brings out, combined with the cream cheese, it's really delicious. I'm going to do maybe 2 of these. And the second one, I'm not going to put the cheese on, because a lot of people like to put, gravy on their mashed potatoes. And although that would probably still be delicious with the cheesy ones, I'm going to do one that doesn't have any cheese. That way there's the option. But otherwise, it's just, it's still great mashed potatoes that you can, put gravy on. Right? So I'm putting this in the fridge till it's time to cook it at 350 degrees for about 20 to 30 minutes. And they're just really kind of light and fluffy, and they're really, really yummy. This is also not just for Thanksgiving, but a really, a nice side dish for a red meat like a steak, because it kind of takes your traditional potatoes and it kicks them up a notch. Okay. I am going to see you. I'm hoping I can post both of these between today, Saturday, and tomorrow, Sunday. Both of these, by that I mean the mashed potato casserole, and then next I'm going to make a broccoli and cauliflower casserole side dish. Hoping that I'm giving you guys enough time if you are still searching for a side to bring to your Thanksgiving dinner. So hopefully you will see both of these today / tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving.